Alright, so today I'm going to show you how to change your radiator fluid. As you guys can see, this radiator fluid is now expired and needs to be replaced. I'm going to use simple tools which can be found in almost any home, and I will try to make it simple and as informative as possible. So let's get started. So along with the basic tools, we are going to need some radiator fluid, and we are going to need some radiator flush too, and we will need some sort of container to collect all the fluid that comes out of the radiator. Your radiator should have a drain bolt at its bottom part, which you can open, and all the fluid will come out of it. But not all cars have a drain bolt installed in its radiator. If your vehicle doesn't have a drain bolt at the bottom part of the radiator, that means you will need to open the bottom pipe, and it can get a little messy. So make sure to wear your old clothes, old dirty clothes in your laundry, not the fresh clothes, as you don't want your fresh clothes to get dirty. Alright, so now it's time to remove the bottom pipe in the radiator. So what we are going to do is to first loosen the clip that holds the pipe. Once the clip is loosed, we can then remove the pipe. Now the pipe will still be very hard to remove, so you are going to pull the pipe, and along with that keep shaking it violently. Shake and shake and pull, shake and pull, shake and pull, and eventually the pipe will separate itself from the radiator. Alright, so you can see the pipe is open now, and all the fluid has drained. For now we will remove the clip and place it somewhere else, as we are not going to need it for now. Here is the drained water, the old fluid that needs replaced. Now we will connect the bottom pipe back to the radiator, and we don't need to use the clip again. We just need to connect the pipe strong enough so that it won't go loose when we start our car and add more fluid. Now what we are going to do is to add water to a radiator and fill it to the top. Once it's completely full, we will close the radiator cap and run the car for 1 minute. Alright, so 1 minute has passed, and I removed the radiator cap, and you can see the rusty water in it. It has again collected a lot of rust and washed the interior of the car engine and radiator. So we are gonna drain this water again. This time draining the radiator will be very easy. Just push the pipe and it will very easily disconnect from the radiator. As you can see, water is very rusty, and it's pretty much as rusty as it was before. Now we will repeat the same process again and again until the water is clear enough. Alright, so the water already looks pretty good at this point, but I'm gonna drain it one more time, and this time I will leave the water for a longer interval. Okay, so this time I run the car for 5 minutes instead of 1 minute, and you can see that water is already a little more darker, and collected more rust inside the car. But this is good for now. Now it's time to add flush inside the radiator along with the water. So this time what we are going to do is to add the clip back on the radiator pipe and connect the radiator pipe properly to the main radiator, and make sure the clip is tight enough, because we are going to be taking this car for a ride. Alright, so now I have added a little water to the radiator, and now we are going to mix it with the radiator flush. You can use any radiator flush you like from any company. Just make sure it's a well-known company that makes lots of good car products. So use any company that you like, and in my case I'm using STP radiator flush. To maximize the effectiveness of your radiator flush, make sure to read the instruction on the back side of the bottle. It will tell you exactly how to use it in a proper way. In case of this particular product, it says mix it with water inside the radiator and take the car out for a dry. Run it for about 20 minutes and then remove the water. Now as we have added the flush, what we are going to do is to fill up the car with water and close the radiator cap and take the car out for a spin. Once we have drove for about 30 minutes, we will come back and drain the radiator again. So you guys can see that the flush has done an excellent job, and now we are going to repeat this process again and again until we have clear water. Okay, so this is an optional step. You guys can disconnect the upper pipe from the radiator and keep blowing it with the air blower until no water comes out. And do the same with the radiator too until no water comes out. So now it's time to add radiator fluid. This particular one I chose is a 50-50 premixed, and all you have to do is just add it directly to the radiator. No need to mix it with water. Consult your owner's manual to see which radiator fluid is best for you. The one I'm using is universal. It can be used on pretty much any car. In case you guys have chosen a coolant which needs to be mixed with water, make sure to read its instructions on the back side. Normally, for 1 liter coolant, you should add 1 liter water. But in this case, if we read the instructions, it says for 1 liter coolant, you need to add 2 liters of water. So therefore, make sure to read the instructions properly. When it comes to water, make sure to use distilled water for your coolant, because it doesn't have minerals and will not uh, corrode the internal parts of engine and radiator. I bought this entire pack for about $2. Use a funnel to make your job easy. It's almost full now. Now we will run the engine so the air can escape and we can add more coolant. And please do not forget to wash the coolant reservoir because that is dirty too and needs to be cleaned. You can easily remove it, just unscrew some screws and it will easily pop out. We will leave the car running and go clean the reservoir. When we come back, a lot of air should have escaped and then we can add more fluid. As you can see now it's completely full. So this is how you change the radiator fluid inside your car. And next step is to test the vehicle and make sure there are no leaks. First I'm going to wait for the car and the ground to dry up. Once it's all dry, then I can proceed with testing. If it's not dry and there is a very minor leak, I might not be able to find it. So once everything is dry, then I'm gonna run the car idling for about 10, 15, 30 minutes depending on the temperature. Right now it's very hot, so I will run it for about 15 minutes and then check it. If all leaks are good, then I'm going to take it for a test ride and test it for 30 minutes. If it's still not leaking, we are done. Also, we will need to add more fluid once we drive it around because more air will escape from radiator and we will need to add more fluid. Alright, so it's almost night time here and I waited for almost entire day for everything to dry up, car interior and the floor. And I started the engine and let it idle for about 15 minutes and look what I found. A leak. It's almost also leaking here on the floor as you can see. It's a very minor leak, but if I took my car out for a drive, it might become a bigger issue. So that's why it's really important to first test it in home. The reason I'm having a leak is because this clamp failed on me, and it's a very good thing that it failed on me because I totally forgot to mention this in video, and you guys can have the same issue in future. Whenever you guys remove radiator pipes, also always make sure to replace this clamp with a different type of clamp, and I'm gonna show you guys what type of clamp that is. I already have it as backup in my car, a few of them. These radiator clamps are very unreliable. They might work fine even after you open the pipe like 20 times, and they might fail on you when you open the pipe for the first time. Let me tell you what happened to me when I changed radiator fluid last time. So what I did was last time I changed radiator fluid and I did all the tests inside my home outside, and after a few days I decided to go to another city, and it's about 200 kilometers away from me. So I reached the city completely fine. There were no issues. Even next day when I was coming back, I checked the radiator fluid to make sure there were no issues. When I was coming back on the road and I was about 30 minutes away from home, the car began to overheat and suddenly it went almost to the red area, and I stopped the car and I was like, what the hell? And when I saw below, I realized there were a lot of the fluid was dripping. And as I searched it with my camera, I was like, oh my god. At that point, I thought it was on the cliff. It worked completely fine when I was going from here to the next city, but I thought it was some sort of tear inside the pipe. But it turned out that the pipe was completely fine, and it was actually the cliff that failed on me. I have to like tow my car back. So these clamps are very unreliable. Please change these things, and I'm gonna show you exactly what type of clamp to use. So we will be using this clamp now. And first we are going to open the pipe, remove the old clamp and then put it here. The pipe has been removed. The old clamp is also removed. And now we will add the new clamp. And now as you guys can see, the new clip has been added, and I made sure it's tight enough, and hopefully we won't have any more leaks. I'm gonna wait for everything to dry, and then check it out in morning. Alright, so it's next day morning, and more than 12 hours has passed, and I ran the car for about good 30 minutes, and I'm not seeing any leaks, and everything is dry. So I guess it's a job done, but still I'll be testing it more. I will be taking this car for a drive and make sure there are no leaks in the system. So also make sure to have plenty of water for backup, just in case. You never know what can happen. So have plenty of water and fluid in your car when going out for a drive test. Anyhow, this is how you change the radiator fluid, and I hope you have found this video useful. Thanks.